grew up in church my whole life. For as long as I can remember. Methodist church first, and then my 6th grade year, my mom started going to a charismatic church. And so I pretty much, from 6th grade on, was in the charismatic church. Always had a strong connection to God, I would think, but always found myself questioning whether my faith was real. I would always kind of come to a point, is like, is this real? Is this not real? I don't feel any different. And then having to keep reminding myself, it's not about how you feel. It's just about knowing the truth. And always been super active in church and knowing that it was important. And then when James decided to start looking into the Orthodox Church, I thought he was crazy because I was the fun little Protestant girl, and you're taught never to question your faith. He would strategically listen to things, and I would find myself going, man, that makes sense. That makes more sense than what I've always been taught, or what I've always believed, or, oh, well, finally, I can hold in contention this idea of free will and God still being sovereign. And so it just got to the point where the Orthodox faith just made more sense and allowed me to finally kind of take that step of knowing securely that my faith really is true. It really is real. It's not just this thing that people say. Probably the biggest one was the whole idea of atonement and understanding what the true meaning of atonement was and what Christ actually did on the cross and when he went to Hades, and being able to look at that for what it actually was. And it's not about God being wrathful, because that was always something that I could never figure out. It's like, how can he be a loving God but us still live in fear of his wrath? And I could never make those two things mesh. And so looking at it, kind of shifting that focus and being able to see it the way the Orthodox see it, for fear of sounding redundant, it made sense in my brain and how my brain works, and thinking through that. And it kind of freed up a whole lot of the fear of messing up, the fear of not being good enough. Being military, moving around a whole lot, always having to find a church, find a group of people that we connect with. We have visited so many churches. This is probably the one church that we've walked into, and even when I was uncertain and just coming because the whole family wanted to go to church together, it was probably one of the most welcoming places I've ever walked into, and you kind of felt like family and felt like people cared. And so it made it really easy to stay and come every Sunday, because I knew no matter what, we would be welcomed and loved when we came. And so that was huge for me, and probably it was one of the things that made me willing to open my heart to Orthodoxy to begin with.
Yeah.
Just the people.